This is Diesel for We the People News. Again, sorry about the quality of everything. This new phone that I got, it's an LG phone. And this thing just does not like to focus for some reason. Oh my goodness. What we're going to do is go by what they're talking about anyway. So, let's try to adjust that a little bit better. Anyway, one of my favorite girls. This is Diesel for We the People News. Never just like straightforward. Always look around you, for the outside forces may want to commit harm upon you. And I'm with them on all this all together. And she's going to go into great details about this. With the Supreme Court 9-0. Alright, so it's a step forward, not far enough. But we'll proceed forward on this. If I can ever
pay for this commission to investigate what's going on in America. So let's get to the Supreme Court, because it was a miracle, Sonny. It was an absolute miracle. What happened on May 17th? On May 17th, the Supreme Court of the United States issued a 9-0, a unanimous opinion that the doctrine of what they call in the word just slipped out of my head, the doctrine of where is it, community caretaking. The doctrine of community caretaking does not give a police officer
I want to stop there right quick. We talked about words and meanings and all that, but if you looked on top of that paperwork, if you look back on it, this is all caps. This is the corporation, part of the United States. This is not the original intent of the United States. Alright? So all caps is the corporation. The smaller letters is the original intent of the United States. Just to clear that up for y'all. Sorry.
Blanc to go and search and seize in someone's home and take their guns. Now, I want you to see why this is this is absolutely a miracle, a 9-0 miracle. And this is why. Number one, the issue is the Fourth Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment is probably, whether we realize it or not, the most abused liberty of the people in the Bill of Rights.
Agreed.
The Supreme Court, just the very thought that they say this is an exception. They call this an exception to the Fourth Amendment, community caretaking. You know what, Sonny, I should probably go ahead and put the Fourth Amendment up there so we can look at the Fourth Amendment.
All right.
And see if we can find any of those exceptions that they're talking about.
All right.
All right, so here we go. Here is the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And no warrant shall issue but based upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, there's a magic word in there, and I don't know if you remember it from the class. I don't want to put you on the spot. But it's only got 3 letters, and it's probably one of the most important words in that text. Raise your hand in our chat room if you know what that is.
It's only a 3-letter word?
It's only a 3-letter word.
Is it...
And.
Oh, I thought it was but.
But. understand from a reading of the Fourth Amendment is, number one, you are not free from all searches and seizures. You're only free from unreasonable searches and seizures. So that means that a reasonable search and seizure is one that you submit to, right? So what happens then is you have all of these lawyers and pundits and government agents who say, okay, well, what is a reasonable search and seizure? And they convene these think tanks, and lawyers get together, and judges and politicians, and they all try to decide what is reasonable. And they came up with a legal definition of what is reasonable. And the legal definition of what is reasonable in a search and seizure is what a reasonable officer would find reasonable under reasonable circumstances.
All right.
I don't know about you, Sonny, but I was taught in school that you're not supposed to define the word with the word.
Nope.
So you're younger than me. Do they still teach that?
Yeah, they definitely taught that when I was there.
Yeah. So, what I want you, the educated Chris-Ann Hall Daily Journal listener, to know is that the definition of reasonable is in the text of a Fourth Amendment. So here it is. Warrant, number one. To have a reasonable search and seizure, there must be a warrant that is based upon probable cause, that is subject to due process, oath, or affirmation, which particularly describes the place to be searched and particularly describes the persons or things to be seized. And because there's this word "and" in here, not "or," and what that means is, and what the drafters of the Fourth Amendment meant when they wrote it and ratified it into law, is that all five have to be present at the same time. All five, because that word is and not "or." Not 3 out of 5, not 4 out of 5, not even 4.5 out of 5. All five have to be present. Now, I'm
Words matter.
JC is usually my grammar
Yes, yes.
guy here, right? But I'm thinking this isn't too difficult, is it?
No, it seems pretty
So
straightforward.
what is this little punctuation thing here?
That's period.
And what exactly does a period mean?
Means the sentence is over.
It does, doesn't it? I was just looking for I'm not testing you. I'm looking for vindication and
No,
verification,
it
right?
means it's the end of the sentence.
So this is not a comma.
No,
So what's after this?
nothing.
Nothing. You mean it doesn't say comma unless it's a matter of national security?
No,
Comma unless there's a community safety need.
no, I don't see that.
How about exigent circumstance?
No,
No. So, Sonny, do you see any exceptions in there within the Fourth Amendment?
I do not.
I will say there's actually one exception. The exception is a reasonable search and seizure. Right? That is the only exception to your right to be secure in your person's, houses, papers, and effects. Is a reasonable search and seizure. If it is a reasonable search and seizure, then your right to be secure in your person's, houses, papers, and effects is satisfied because due process is there. So, there you have it. And now, what we have is the Supreme Court declaring, now they didn't declare that the, what they call it, the community caretaking standard, they call it the community caretaking exception, is actually not an exception. Okay, so they're still going to uphold the community caretaking exception. What does that mean? Community caretaking means if an officer happens to be walking past a house and hears somebody screaming, "Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! Please stop beating me! Stop beating me! Ah! You're killing me! You're killing me!" The community caretaking exception would say that the officer has a duty to go into that house and save those people or that person that's screaming. That's the justification for the community caretaking exception. But what they've done is they've just totally expanded that to say, okay, if I think maybe sometime in the future you might use a gun to hurt somebody, I'm going to come into your house and take it. And so that's the case in this case. Now what happened in this case was let me get to the thing here. All right, so during an argument with his wife at their Rhode Island home, Edward Caniglia retrieved a handgun from the bedroom, put it on the dining room table, and asked his wife to, quote, shoot him now and get it over with.
All right.
Can you imagine this in Rhode Island?
All right.
Shoot me now and get it over with. She declined, the court case says, and instead left to spend the night at a hotel.
I probably would have too.
The next morning, when the petitioner's wife discovered that she could not reach him by telephone, she called the police to request a welfare check. Now, this falls into the whole little caretaker exception thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Respondents accompanied petitioner's wife to the home. So she went to the home with them, where they encountered the petitioner on the porch, Mr. Caniglia. And then the law enforcement spoke with Caniglia spoke with law enforcement and confirmed his wife's account of the argument, but denied that he was suicidal. The law enforcement, however, thought that the petitioner posed a risk to himself or others, called an ambulance, and Mr. Caniglia agreed to go to the hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. So far, everything that we have is consensual, right?
Quick giving consent.
But only after the police allegedly promised not to confiscate his firearms, right? So he's like, all right, I'll go, but you can't take my guns. And they said, okay. Well, that's not what they did. They actually told his wife that Mr. Caniglia said they could go in and take his guns. They went into the house under the community caretaking exception, said they didn't need a warrant, and confiscated his firearms. And so, let's just summarize. The police showed up on a consensual visit, lied to the guy about not taking his guns, talked him into committing himself to a mental institution, lied to his wife that her husband said they could take the guns, and then went inside without his consent and took his guns. And they tried to say, we had an authority to do that because of the caretaker exception. And in a 9-0 decision, totally unanimous, I mean, I'm telling you, even under those facts,
Wow.
It's a miracle.
Wow.
All nine said, no, you can't lie to somebody and then take their guns without a warrant. Now, for those of you in the chat room who are asking about red flag laws, then you should understand that Justice Alito wrote a concurrence and went out of his way to make sure that we understood that the Supreme Court, in this opinion, was not making any judgment on red flag laws, which is appropriate because this really wasn't about, well, I guess maybe it was, I don't know. They didn't challenge the red flag law aspect of this. So, because the red flag law was not challenged, the courts can't issue any opinions on red flag laws. So, maybe this was easier for a 9-0 for them because they didn't have to come against gun laws. But it's a miracle because, number one, they didn't support an extra exception to the Fourth Amendment. It is a double miracle because they actually had to render an opinion to give a guy his guns back. I mean, I don't even know who kidnapped Alina Kagan and Sotomayor for them to be on board for this. I don't get this. They would find anything they could possibly do to take guns from people. But here we are.
That is true.
Poor people. Shoot me and get it over with. Maybe that's why he wanted to go to the mental institution, because it was
to just
get away from
a little vacation.
a little vacation from his wife. Shoot me.
I don't know. He was probably just being dramatic. I don't know.
Well, even so, where is the community caretaker should stop right then and there when he says, "No, I'm not crazy. I'm not going anywhere." The wife is there. If she was worried about it, they wouldn't have had to lie to her to get the guns.
Yeah.
Because she'd have been like, "Oh, you can take them." Because in a house with married people, all the property is shared by marriage. It's called community property.
True.
So if she wanted to hand over those guns,
She would have done it.
She would have done it. I don't know, just Rhode Island. Come on, guys. But anyway, that's the big news for today. That's the exciting news for today.
Well, Rhode Island's not that big, so it sucks. Probably the whole state found out their business.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably so embarrassed.
A welfare check. So please understand now that this community overreach excuse has just a little bit of a pinch to it now. The Supreme Court has said no, and we'll see what happens. Because remember, the Supreme Court has no force. So their opinions are just opinions. Oh, I wanted to do this. Look at this. There we go. Here, I'm going to put this back up on the screen. This is actually the Supreme Court. This is, if you were to look this up, Sonny, this is exactly what you would find.
Remember,
as
it's all in
issued by the
caps.
Supreme Court. And I just want to point out, what is that magic word there?
Opinion.
Opinion. Does it say ruling?
No.
No, it does not. Does it say law?
No.
No. It says opinion. So all of you judicial supremacists out there, all of you lawyers, all of you judges, all of you crazy whacked out people who run around talking about how the Supreme Court issued the law of the land, or it's like law, or you see this all the time. I wonder if I even have it here. What does this say? No. Let me look this up. I wanted to find this thing. The
And I may be
newspaper
wrong, but I think
that
it's on
have here.
all the paperwork of the opinions.
Anyway. Okay. Yep, there we go. Woohoo, look at that. Are you ready? This is American Military News, and what is their headline? Supreme Court rules. Warrantless home gun confiscation is unconstitutional, 9-0. What's that word again, Sonny?
Opinion.
Opinion. Why can't they? Come here.
Too many tabs.
Too many tabs going on here. Why can't they possibly just say Supreme Court opines warrantless searches? Would you know what that meant if somebody said opine?
Of course.
So what is it so difficult? You know, it's another safer way in case somebody said they didn't know what opine meant. Held. The Supreme Court held warrantless home gun confiscation is unconstitutional in a 9-0 vote.
What's
I
wrong
wish
with
we
opinion?
could get rid of this word
You'd
right
be plain
here.
out blunt.
Rules. Because it creates this mentality that we are ruled by the court. That the courts are our rulers. If somebody rules, does not that make them your ruler?
You would say. Sounds like it.
A ruler, who has the authority to rule?
A ruler.
A ruler. I am not ruled by the Supreme Court. So, It's an opinion, people. Not a rule. And not a law.
And that's the reason why it's
And
null
we're
and
happy for
void.
the miracles when they happen. Which has got to actually make some people out there really scared. Because there are a good number of cases that are going to be coming before the Supreme Court that has to do with our guns and our right to keep and bear arms. And if this is going to happen, a 9-0, can I just tell you how crazy that is? I mean, they didn't have to do that. Because 6-3, it still would have,
Yeah.
6-3, it was still would have passed. 7-2, it would have passed. Alina Kagan could have kept her Liberal Leftist of the Year award with an 8-1. So, I'm just wondering, how is this even possible that we got a 9-0?
I second that.
So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. You got any closing words for our people today?
Well, you never showed the pictures yet of Mr.
Oh, that's right. I didn't. But
No biggie on that. So, yeah. That is good news. A little bit of our freedom has been wink wink given back. Okay? Once again, this is opinions. You know, states can technically just ignore this and keep doing it anyway. And it still be unconstitutional either way it goes, but they can still ignore the Supreme Courts. But once the states start ignoring the Supreme Court, then they would have to just ignore all the Supreme Courts. So, and be honest, there's actually states up there really starting to wake up. And I think the majority of it is just the people are starting to wake up. Especially since this mask mandate thing. You know, and people started waking up and going, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, state, you're causing me harm. We need to back up a little bit. This is decent for the people news. I hope this is good news for some of y'all out there. I know it's really good news on my behalf, and that's what I'm mostly concerned about. It's my behalf. Being a not a Republican, but a republic, and not oh darn that D word, democracy. This is going into the right side of getting the republic back. Not near fast enough, not near strong enough, but it seems to me that people are starting to wake up. So, anyway, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about it. But this is good news, y'all. A little bit of freedom right back to the people. And start waking up and paying attention to what the Supreme Courts are doing, because somehow or another they became queens and kings. And we need to knock them down off their pedestal. Till next time, y'all, never look straight forward. Always look around you, for the outside forces may want to commit harm upon you. Time to take the freedom back. Become bosses, not subjects. If you had a business, you wouldn't let your employees be a boss of you. You know, some of y'all out there are mad about audits and cop watchers and all that. Well, we wouldn't need to do it if they was acting within the Constitution, the state or the federal, they're acting under the color of law of codes and statutes. So sit and think about that. You know, and when you think about it, remember, just look at all the consequences of it. You know? Till next time, y'all. Bye.